So welcome everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We have people here from so many time zones. It's very exciting, and thank you all for taking the time to join us. United States, Canada, UK, South Africa, here in Israel. Thank you everybody for being here. It's great to have friends really all over the world. We're gathered today in honor of JDAIM, Jewish Disability Awareness, Acceptance and Inclusion Month. A great time to recognize the abilities within our community and reaffirm our commitment to inclusion for everybody. And Beit Issie, we are working on that day in, day out with wonderful staff uh, and with a wonderful board. And you'll meet soon Moran Samuel, who's joined our board recently and is a true inspiration to us all. And it's a great time to have you here with us, Mohan.
Thank you.
Especially as next week marks the opening of the Winter Paralympic Games. And for those of you who do not know Mohan yet, you'll understand why that connection is important. So just a couple of minutes about Beit Issie. You came here to hear Mohan, but I can't, have such a meeting with so many people without mentioning a little bit about what we've been doing. So just a snapshot, and since this is a global meeting, I really want to only mention two things which are happening on a global level, using our very simple model of identifying needs, developing solutions, testing them, ensuring that they're evidence-based, and then scaling them on a global level. So the first thing out of two is our participation in the Zero Project Conference in Vienna. That's a conference with international recognition that gives prizes for leading best practices around the world. And this week or last week, our dental clinic, the staff at dental clinic received a first prize for their inclusive dental care model, which is incredible and lowers the amount of full anesthesia people with disabilities need in order to receive treatment from 56% to 6%. And they received this not only because it's a great model, but because we are prepared to scale it on a global scale now. And this conference has opened doors to us to scale throughout Europe and the United States. And today I met somebody from Canada, so perhaps Canada is also an option. And that is really going to be a focus of ours over the next few years. So that's local innovation, global influence, number one. Number two is something, recognition we're receiving for work we've done throughout the war. During the war, we identified an urgent need, and that is, how do you deliver bitter news, devastating news to a person with a disability, with a cognitive intellectual disability, in a way that they can truly understand it, internalize it, and deal with it? We developed a whole professional toolkit to guide professionals on how to do this in Hebrew, in Arabic, and also in English. And this week we received information, or like a formal we were formally informed that the initiative is going to receive National Recognition Award from the Ministry of Welfare and Social Affairs in Israel. And we've already shared this on a global level with communities that face crises. When there was a terrorist attack in Manchester, we shared it with professionals in Manchester. When there was the terrible attack in Australia, we shared this tool with them as well. These are real needs that arise, and in real time, we gave them a real solution, and we're sharing that globally. It's available and open to anybody in the world who needs them. So those are just two examples of areas where we want to be leaders in innovation and leaders in sharing, an organization that really responds in real time to real human needs. We're very proud of what we do. We're proud of the friendship and that you are a part of everything we do. And now, without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce Moran Samuel, a three-time Paralympic medalist in rowing. She's also a child development physiotherapist and a mother of three. But if you walk around with her in the street, people stop to compliment her on Dancing with the Stars. Her TV performance there. She's also a proud member of Beit Issie Shapiro's board of directors, and a remarkable journey that she will now share with us. Thank you so much for being with us, Moran.
Thank you, Amir.
Let's change places.
Yeah, we're gonna switch. I will row here. And if you can help me in 30 seconds. So as Amir said, it's good morning, good afternoon.
Good evening, whatever you want.
Yeah, whatever you choose. I'm really excited to be here. I've known Beit Issie more than 2 decades, and I've visited here as a young physiotherapist and was so inspired by the work And thinking about it and realizing that 20 years later, I'm part of the board, and for me, it's really, really exciting, and I'm happy to share my story, not because I think it's unique. You can listen to many different stories around the world, and they can all inspire you, because I think that when you talk to people about challenges, difficulties, and even disabilities, they realize that we all have it and that we all have to face them in one point or another in our lives. So it's not about what happens to us, it's about how many tools and strategies we have to actually deal with those challenges. So let's start. Amir will help me technologically to put the presentation on.
Everyone?
Yes, that's good. So as Amir mentioned, I'm a 3-time Paralympic medalist, but the real moment where I felt that all my dreams came true was in Paris, where I won the gold medal. And you plan your life as an athlete, you go from Paralympic Games to Paralympic Games, and as soon as I was out from Tokyo, which was the 3rd time for me in the Paralympic Games, I took some time to decide if I want to do it again or not, and I've decided I'm going to go again for the 4th time, which was not an easy decision. But I put it on my calendar, September 1st, 2024. I'm going to participate in the games, and then I'm going to, and everybody thought, win a medal, win the gold, but for me, it was all about retiring in the best way I could. And my motivation to go to Paris came from the idea that it's going to be the last time I'm going to do it. And I've waited for that moment. And the moment arrived, and I woke up in the Paralympic Village in Paris in the morning of September 1st. I was really, really excited. My mind was all focused on the finals, on my race, on what I need to do. But the first news that I've received that morning was that one of our team members passed away during the night, one floor below mine in the Paralympic Village. He was the father of one of our athletes that, because of the severe disability, has to go around with a caregiver. And he was part of our team. And Nadav, our athlete, competed noontime, and in the middle of the night, his father passed away in the Paralympic Village. So we were all devastated, but I knew that I have a mission. I knew I need to race my final, and I want to be focused as best as I could. I knew I cannot help Nadav now. So I took as much air in my lungs as I could, and I went downstairs to get my coffee. Now, in the Paralympic Village, it's amazing. Everywhere you go, you have these amazing coffee shops, and you can get whatever you want, your yogurt or a muffin or a croissant, which I couldn't because I was competing, so I only smelled them. And the only problem with the Paralympic Village is that you cannot cut the queue. Your disability card has no meaning because everybody are the same. So I had to wait, and the queue was really, really long. And I was waiting there, and two team members approached me and asked me if I heard the news. I was sure that they are asking about Nadav's father, but they actually asked me if I heard the news about the 6 hostages that were murdered the night before in Gaza, and they are now brought back to Israel. And my heart was broken 6 times again. And I went back to my room, and I couldn't believe that I'm in Paris, in the Paralympic Village, trying to compete. And in the other side, in Israel, there are still hostages, and everything was a mix. And I just sat on my bed and cried. As a mother, for me, I could only think about the families receiving this news. And I was thinking to myself, how can I compete today? How in 3 hours I get into my boat and race? And if there's something I know about Jewish people, if there's something I know about myself and about athletes, is that our gift is our ability to turn pain into power. And I've decided that morning that the only thing I can do is take this enormous pain and turn it into the power, the power to lead me through this final race in my boat. So I tried to prepare myself mentally. I thought about the people back home hearing this news, and I thought, what can I give the people of Israel and the Jewish people in the world in this awful day of September 1st? And I realized the only thing I can give them is the national anthem and the flag on the top of the Paralympic Games in Paris. The only way to finish this day is with a gold medal.
מורן עדיין מובילה. מורן בראש, 120 מטר אל הזהב הפרלימפי.
צרפתיה שם גם הרימה קצב.
יש כאן מאבק גדול, אנחנו מבינות, כמובן, גם על המקום השני וגם על המקום השלישי, אבל אנחנו, עם מורן סמואל, יש לה פחות מ-100 מטר, 85 מטר לקראת הזהב הפרלימפי.
מורן לוקחת הזהב כאן, זה מטורף.
זה מטורף, זה מטורף.
וואו.
עוד קצת, עוד כמה מטרים. והיא עומדת לעשות את זה.
הזהב של מורן.
זה פשוט לא יאמן.
וואו, וואו, וואו. איזו הפתעה מדהימה של מורן. איך היא התכוננה, היא כל כך רצתה את זה. הלכה לעוד אולימפיאדה. הכל רק כדי להגיע לזהב. היא כבר מחייכת. שתיים.
מורן סמואל! זהב פרלימפי! איזה אדירה! איזו אדירה! איזו ספורטאית על! מורן סמואל טופחת שם על הסירה באושר, היא האלופה הפרלימפית.
הוביל מהרגע הראשון.
So some statistics. I was not ranked first in my category. I was actually ranked fourth in Paris. No one could imagine I would win the gold that morning. But as I was there on the starting line, I could only think on one result. And I knew that the power I have in me, they cannot compare it to anyone else around, because no one had to face what we had to face during the year prior to the Paralympic Games. And that morning was even more symbolic for me. The only thing I've waited for, the only thing I've decided should happen that morning is the moment you're going to see now.
מורן עדיין מובילה.
So I woke up one morning when I was 24 years old, and 2 hours later, I was completely paralyzed from the chest down. And only by hearing that, people get inspired. So how do you actually get out of your home every day and do the everyday life and deal with everything? And people don't need the full story to relate or to get inspired. So for me, that's the easy part. Talking about inspiration. The real inspirational story of my life is that I get my children to bed by 8:30, and that's inspiring. They are amazing, but I want them to go to sleep so I can be a person, not just a mother. I know you can relate. If you have met me at a younger age, you would probably find me on a basketball court. I grew up in Carmiel in the north. When I was about 9.5, my best friend from school decided he wants to play basketball. He went to the community center. He signed up for basketball. I came straight after him, and they said to my mother, but she's a girl. My mother said, well, thank you for the new information. We were wondering, but coming here, you made it clear for us she's a girl. What do you mean she cannot play basketball? You're going to put her in the team. And for me, looking at my mother, hearing the words coming out of her mouth and realizing that being a girl shouldn't stop me doing from whatever I would want to do in my life. So she was responsible for me going for my first basketball session, and I was there looking at all the boys, realizing I'm a head taller than everybody else. So at 9.5, I was faster, stronger, and taller from all the boys that were around me, which was, of course, an advantage. Soon enough, it became my dream. I played national teams since I was 15.5, Division I basketball in high school. I even joined the army in a special program for elite athletes. If you have met me that age and opened up my chest, you wouldn't find an anatomical heart. Mine was round and orange, and it was bouncing up and down my chest. So you can understand that how devastating it was to wake up in such a, when I'm in the middle of my career as a basketball player. And actually, not just that, I was coaching basketball, and I was a student in Haifa University doing my bachelor degree in physical therapy. I've already finished 2 years of school and my first stage, my first internship in an hospital. And I wake up and I have a really, really bad back pain, and it becomes difficult to breathe. So I decided to call an ambulance, and by the time they arrived, I couldn't get out of bed. So I'm trying, but it's like your body weight 100 kilograms more than you actually weigh. You cannot move anything. They had to help me sit in my bed, and I couldn't feel the floor, and I didn't understand what's going on. And only on the way to the hospital, I realized that I cannot move my legs, I cannot feel them, and I'm completely paralyzed. And when I got to the hospital, the doctor discovered I suffered a really rare condition called spinal stroke. It was not from sport or anything else. I had a ticking bomb in my body. A blood vessel just exploded one morning, and there was no oxygen supply to the spinal cord. I had to go through a really, really long surgery where they had to open 6 vertebrae and pray. So I was there lying in bed, believing that my life is over. No one even argued with me because I was a professional basketball player. My body was my tool. Even as the future I saw for myself as a physiotherapist, I knew I'm going to need my body to work, to help other people, but I couldn't imagine being on the other side. And I was lying in bed after this long surgery, couldn't move my body. I was actually almost 3 weeks, I couldn't get out of bed. So think about everything you do from the moment you wake up in the morning until you go to sleep again. I had to do it in bed. And that was just unbearable. But also, that's when I realized where is the real arena, where everything really happens. And it's not in our body, it's in our mind. Because when I could not move a muscle, my brain worked as hard as it could to push me from feeling sorry for myself, from believing life is over, and believe me, I was sure mine was, to actually do something about it. And I went through a journey that I call today a journey of small victories, small wins, the small steps that we do to overcome, to recover. And I believe that humans have a superpower. I'm going to tell you soon what it is. But I also know that if you take my story and you move it aside, okay, forget you even heard it, and think about your own life. Think about the lives of people around you, your children, your family. We all face times of challenges. Even if you put the war aside or the coronavirus aside, our everyday life, it's full of those moments where all you want to do is give up. You say, no, I can't. And you need to fight those moments. If you want to get somewhere in your life, you have to know how to fight those moments. It doesn't matter how old you are. You can be a fighter and then something comes and it shakes you. And it puts you exactly in the point where I was back then in the hospital where you feel like your life is over. So how do you make those small victories? A small win is a moment in time where all you wanted to do is give up and you didn't. But how do we do it? How do we go from wanting to give up, from feeling sorry about everything, feeling sorry for ourselves, to actually doing something about it? So I say that our superpower is our ability not to give up. And in order to be resilient, to get this muscle trained, we have to face difficult moments. And we do it since the day we are born. I will show you later that we are born with this superpower. But life sometimes makes us feel unable, makes us feel weak, and we have to fight it. So how do we do it? First of all, we have to believe we own our own strength. We have to believe, we have to have this faith in ourselves. You know how hard it is to help a person that doesn't want to help themselves. It doesn't work. You cannot do it. So I believe in support, and I believe that when you have good support and people that want your best, then you have more chances to succeed. But you have to want it yourself. And on top of that, you have to believe in your strength, your inner strength. So that's the first step. And in order to do it, we have to change the way we speak to ourselves. And it affects everything. So lying in bed, saying to myself, life is over, didn't get me very far. But changing it even just a little bit by saying life isn't over. Life as I knew it might be over, but I'm still here. It gave me hope that I have opportunities, even though I didn't know what my opportunities are or what is waiting for me outside of the hospital bed or the rehabilitation center. I had no clue. I had no big dreams, but I was concentrating on believing that life isn't over, that I have the strength to overcome this challenge. And the last is that it doesn't matter the outcome. And I know, as an athlete, we aim as high as possible. And as people, we want to reach our dreams. We want to have goals and then set the goals and then reach the goals. But how does it all happen? Can we control results? Can we control the outcome? Can someone tell us when we start that we're going to get to the top of the Everest? No, no one guarantees a result or an outcome. But I know that going through the long journey, going through the journey itself, that's what develops us as people, as human beings. I own my own strength, life isn't over, and I have faith in my journey. Sorry. I had a full week where I couldn't even speak, so I'm getting my
Glad that you're better.
yeah, I'm getting my voice back.
Take your time.
So I think that this is where my story really meets Beit Issie Shapiro. It's all about abilities, even when you enter the door. It's all about abilities. It's not about disabilities. It's not what about people cannot do. It's everything about what is possible for you. And for me, that was the return to sport. Even though I decided, first of all, to go and finish my bachelor degree in physical therapy and a master degree in child development, going back to sport was going back to me. Was loving myself again, even though I'm in a wheelchair. And that's a long journey, because for me, being tall and strong and fast was everything. But again, on the basketball court, I became strong, maybe not, sorry, maybe not tall again, but definitely strong and fast. And I think that when we open the door, I'm not talking about equality, I'm talking about equal opportunities. When we open the door and we let people do sport and learn and work on their mental abilities, then we give them the opportunity to make their dreams come true. And we all have our own path, our own journey in life. When you are not aware of that, when you don't think that inclusion is important, when you don't think that people should have the same opportunities, and the door is closed, that's the only place you meet a disability. When the door is open, we speak a different language. And Beit Issie Shapiro is carrying this message, as Amir just presented, not just in Israel, around the world. It's about equal opportunities in different areas of life, even in dental practice, you know? So for me, it's about doing it in sport. And it became my life. I went back to play wheelchair basketball. For me, that was just falling in love again, as romantic as you can imagine, with the slow motion, you know, shooting the ball. But I knew it's not going to get me to the Paralympic Games because we were not a good team. It's true, you know, I cannot deny the fact that as a team, we came in last in all European Championship. As an athlete, I was the MVP, and I was chosen 2 times in my career to be one of the 5 best players in Europe. So I had to find a different sport to make my dreams come true. And they suggested rowing. You saw in the video, and I know that around the world it's very clear that rowing is done backward. In Israel, it's not a very popular sport, so I didn't know what's waiting for me. And I sat in a boat and started rowing backwards in the small Yarkon River. At the beginning, mostly hitting the bank and the ducks on the river, but soon enough, I was able to find the joy and the passion to come back to practice. How do you go from wanting something to actually doing something about it? And in this last part of our conversation, I want to explain how I got from a completely different sport through the journey to the Paralympic Games. I took a step. Well, I cannot take anymore. I cannot take an actual step. But so many times in life, you have this imaginary line in your head, and you're saying to yourself, I want to do this or that. I want to take a step. I want to go forward. And it actually sometimes even feels like moving, but actually nothing happens. Nothing happens because you're only listening to the fears in your head, the fear of failure, the fear of what people will say if I will not succeed, the fear of not being good at the beginning, because sometimes when you start something, you're awful. I mean, you're not immediately the master of whatever it is you started doing, playing a guitar or running or volunteering somewhere. So I want to take you back in time for around when you were a year old, 12 months, and you started walking, you took your first step. No one sat in the living room and shouted, Mommy, next week for sure, I'm going to walk. We all started by doing the first step, and then immediately we fell. And we took that step again and again and fell and got up again. Why? Because we have a superpower of not giving up. Sorry. So what I want you to do is think about the step you didn't take, something you really wanted to do, but nothing happened. And I want you to ask 3 questions. First, why? Then, how? And at the end, how much? If we want to get somewhere, if we have a goal that we want to reach, first of all, we need the motivation, okay? And if we don't have the motivation, it's also okay to start doing something. The how is the plan. Most things that look impossible right now is because we don't have a plan. And when you have a plan, when you know what the first step and the second step and the third step is, it's more reasonable that you will take the first step. You need to ask yourself why it will make me the person I want to be. For me, even joining here, Beit Issie Shapiro, was part of the person I want to be. I don't want to be a person that complains about the fact that we don't have sometimes good opportunities for people with disabilities, that not all children around Israel have the same opportunity to play sport or to go to swim or whatever. I don't want to just sit at home and, complain. I decided to do something about it as soon as I had enough time, right? Because as an athlete, I didn't. But as soon as I had enough time, I knew that I want to be part of that. I want to be part of the solution. Complaining is being part of the problem. Acting is being part of the solution. So this was the why for me. And we need to take the first step. And then we need to ask ourselves, how much? How much can I really do it right now? And be very, very precise about your schedule, how the schedule look like, and then find the right place to do it. Sometimes we start so hard and we think that we can do it every day or 3 times a day, but then we stop because it's too much. The only way to make your dreams come true is perseverance, and I did. So I participated 4 times in the games. I was 5th in London. I won the bronze in Rio, the silver in Tokyo, and decided to go again over 40 with 3 amazing children for the first time to Paris. But it's not because I wanted the gold. And you know what? It's not because I wanted to retire in a good way. It's because I have 3 children. The first one was born before the first medal. The second one was born before the second medal. And then what can I say? As soon as I knew that we're going to have another child, I knew I have to win another medal, because children, the problems, they always compare. And what will I do in one day, in a Friday night, Yom Shishi Ba'erev, Friday night, everybody's around the table, and she will ask, why you didn't win a medal after I was born? So we solved that, and she even got the gold. It was not easy to get to the gold. And I want to share with you my life philosophy and a video that is going to prove you that it's true. And then we will open up for questions if you have, and we'll share your thought with us. So this is my life philosophy. If you look at an obstacle as an obstacle, it will knock you down. But if you look at an obstacle as a challenge, you will do your best to overcome. And this is a flexible mind, because, as you know, things go wrong and not everything will go exactly as we want. But how we react, what we decide to do, how we interpret it in front of ourselves, how we reframe things, that will affect our actions, our emotions, and even the result itself. So one example is how I got to Paris during war and missiles and very, very hard time training, but a very, very strong goal and feeling in my gut that I have to do it. And the second story is that I won a gold medal in Italy many, many years ago. And it was my first gold medal, so I was really excited, and I got my medal and a trophy, and I waited for the Israeli national anthem, and they played something else. So I was really embarrassed, and I stopped them and I said, can you look it up on YouTube? And they said, it's from YouTube. And I found myself trying to spell the Italians Hatikva in English, and they couldn't find it. And I didn't know what to do. Should I just go back on the airplane with a gold medal, feeling embarrassed, the embarrassment of the competition? I cannot go back home like that. my next reality. So I think that if you look at my teammates, we won 10 medals for Israel in the Paralympic Games because we know how to ask what we can or what can we do. And that's how I feel when I get here to Beit Issie. Really, Amir, and all the staff. Everybody is looking on more opportunities, more things that we can think about that will completely take the this of disability away. And it's just an honor being part of your organization and giving something from myself and just meeting the staff, the children and the adults that come here and get the services. And I just wanted to grow and grow and grow. And the impact is just amazing. So I want to thank you all for listening. And if you have any question, this is the right time.
So please raise your hand on the screens if you want to ask a question, and kind of as people get organized. I'll just say that, first of all, thank you, and your story is amazing, and you're amazing, and we're very privileged to have you as part of the board. And I think one of the things that I take of many from what you said is that in order to move forward, you have to change the way you talk to yourself. And I think many times we think of resilience as how we interact better with the environment. And you're telling us, no, look inside first, and then you'll be able.
Yes, because also then you can be a role model. Once you know how to do it, you believe in it, you know how to transfer it to others.
Great. Let's see if we've got any questions here. Yes,
so
Sasha.
we can try by raising hand, and if you want to ask it,
I see we have Sasha.
And also, if you don't feel comfortable talking on the Zoom, you can just put your question in the chat.
First of all, Moran, thank you so much. I mean, I was sitting here crying. I saw others as well. So moving, and every time I hear you speak, I'm really inspired, and we're so grateful that you're on our board. You contribute a tremendous amount of your professional knowledge, your wisdom, your life experience, and the way that you see disabilities, I think is so aligned with Beit Issie. And we were thrilled when you joined the board, and even more thrilled with all you're doing in terms of helping Beit Issie. And just as a question for you, I'd be curious to hear your take on future opportunities that you think exist for people with disabilities, and where you think Beit Issie should be focusing in the future.
I think you're already going there by opening the psychological center and giving here in Israel today. I think the hardest issue is with people that suffer from PTSD. And I hope that it will raise awareness in general to different kinds of mental disabilities. And I think that you're already going that direction, but we all need to think better about services and inclusion and what still needs to be done. This is like the real innovation that we need right now. Because we know how to build ramps and we know how to put people in the swimming pool, and it's very obvious that those physical needs are very, very obvious. And I think that now the next level is how to make people more comfortable with their transparent disabilities. And this is real innovation to be done. I think another issue, and still you are already there, but I think it's important for people to know, soldiers that got injured, I think it opened a really good door to think about what happens when you finish rehabilitation, and now you have to go with the everyday life and find really flexible opportunities and different ideas of how to make them more independent. And I think from there we can take it to another places and with children, and from there to copy. And I think maybe you should talk a little bit about this project, and because I think it can actually be copied and transferred, not just from what you are doing with soldiers, to the
Sure,
general
sure.
population. So maybe you can talk.
I'll just say it in a minute because I want to leave the time for you. I'll say that with Beit Issie, for those of you who don't know, we have a program, a new service called Tech for Heroes, where we work with soldiers who've been wounded as they return home and help them address the challenges that they face at home for an independent, dignified life using off-the-shelf technologies. And we're already talking today with government to see, showing them, look how amazing this is. We're getting amazing response from the soldiers. Let's do this for all people with disabilities in Israel. But even beyond that, we're already creating webinars for occupational therapists abroad, and we hope to bring this to the United States later on this year as a series of webinars on the use of assistive technology as a rehabilitation tool for occupational therapists. Again, sharing globally what we do. So that's definitely in our future.
What Amir said.
So yeah, let's take another one or two questions if you got it. Naomi?
Yeah. Moran, I every time I hear you and I see you and I witness the magic that you do around you, I think that becomes the ultimate. There couldn't be more. And then you come again. So thank you for giving us that wonderful, wonderful sense of hope. This Sunday, the beginning of a week, we're all wondering what's going to happen. And you really prove that we are all so resilient in our commitment to people with disabilities, into a community which understands people with disabilities. I want to just bring you back because we glided over it, and I do think the amazing achievements that you've had as a sports person, and your Olympic achievements. But I want to bring you to that moment when you were dancing in Dancing with the Stars. And I know that this is what you planned for all your life and your accomplishments and having children in order to show them. But that moment for me, and I'm sure for everybody, was an ultimate proof of can do, that people with disabilities can compete in the world of people who don't have these disabilities. And I think that you brought you made a tremendous contribution to our general society about achieving what you determined to do, and you give us a very good model, but also that it can be so clear to everybody that people with disabilities have got not just need equal opportunities, but know how to use equal opportunities. So I congratulate you on every single point, and I can't wait to see you again because you always have something to inspire me. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that was an amazing experience for me. And I think that what motivated me to, because it's not my comfort zone, especially wearing a dress, putting all the makeup. That was the hard part for me. Learning movement is the easy part. Working hard on learning dance or something, that's the easy part. Wearing a dress, makeup, and on prime time, wearing pink. I wore pink. So, but what motivated me was actually not just the general population of people with disabilities, is more specifically children that was sitting at home. And we all need role models. We always say that you cannot be what you cannot see. And it's not about just me dancing, as you said. It's about me showing on prime time that you can feel comfortable in your body, that the wheelchair does not define who you are, that you bring your personality everywhere you go, not just the wheelchair. This is transportation, and I wanted young children that sit at home. And actually, I don't know if you saw all episodes. I made sure that on one of those episodes where it was my personal story, I brought a young girl, 9 years old. She's in a wheelchair for 3 years now after a really, really bad car accident where she lost her baby brother, and her two parents were hospitalized together for over 1 year of rehabilitation. And she was a dancer and she loves dancing. And I brought her as my personal guest, sitting on the couches as a VIP in the show, because I wanted her to be there when it happens. And I even said, think about children sitting at home watching the show. You know, what is the message that we can transfer just by me being there?
Amazing, Moran. Thank you so much. You have time for another question if anybody would like to. And in the meantime, I'll say that if any of you want to support Beit Issie Shapiro, help, contribute in any way, then just go onto our website and see how you can do that. And there are different ways and options. And thank you again, Moran, for such an inspiring talk on this Sunday. I'm sure all of us leaving this with a lot of things to think about and to tell our friends.
And thank you for all the comments on the chat. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Shavua tov.
Shavua tov. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you very much.